happens when you're the first person to want a flat thing, and Amazon is still just a rainforest, not a blood-sucking corporation? Well, it turns out that making that initial flat surface is actually really easy. Well, okay, not easy, but not complicated either. It's just a lot of work. It's called the three-plate method. To do this, you need to start with 3 objects that are already as flat as you can reasonably make them by eye. For the sake of demonstration, we're going to use 3 rocks that we made out of plaster. This way, they're really soft, so the process goes quickly. But normally, you'd choose a hard rock or metal for this. To start, you put some of your grinding medium on rock A, and then you take rock B and start grinding the two together. This process is helped by using a marking die, because you can grind the 2 pieces together and then directly see where they're rubbing together, and thus which areas still need to be ground down. Today we'd use something like blue dicum, but the ancient Egyptians used red ochre for marking out their build lines. This is a natural clay-based pigment that humans have used for paint for longer than we have history books, and it worked amazingly well for doing this process. Anyway, when rocks A and B are relatively flush, you move on to grinding together stones B and C, again going until the 2 are flush. Then you move on to C and A. This cycle goes around and around and around, and each time the rocks get a bit flatter. By cycling through the stones, you're essentially averaging out the error between each. Eventually, the error across all 3 stones drops to basically 0. And ta-da, you now have a machinist-grade surface plate starting with literally no tools. On ours, 2 of the stones got perfectly flat, while the 3rd had an ugly little divot left in it. But it would have been removed if we kept grinding. But again, this is just for demonstration, so it's... Of course, you don't need to start with 3 raw stones. Just like buying a modern surface plate, you could already have a flat stone or 2, or maybe a metal plate prepared in advance, that you simply bring to the worksite. You then conduct the grinding process until the workpiece is as flat as you want it. If your goal is not a mirror flat sarcophagus lid, but instead one of the blocks that are going to be on the outside of a structure, you don't even need to get that fancy. Simply grinding the rocks together until they fit perfectly is sufficient. Then you just bring them to the build site and stack them in the correct order to recreate that perfect prepared fit. Or get it as close as possible in advance and then do the final grinding in situ. Though this wasn't always the solution. In South America, the Inca were famous for polygonal bonded masonry, where the stones are made to fit together seemingly perfectly, while also being absolutely crazy shapes. While the Inca may have used lapping techniques, we actually have accounts for how they did this using only hammer stones. There are a few tricks though. First, much like in theater, an object only needs to look nice on the sides that you're gonna see. So the faces and front edges of the stone may look perfect, but internally the fit was much worse, and often left large voids for dirt or gravel to be used to fill in the spaces. It's much easier to get a block to look nice on one side than it would be for the blocks to be perfect through and through, even if a hammer stone is all you're using. But importantly, accounts mention that, quote, the fit had to be checked many times, which means that even large stones would be put in place, checked, then extracted to be worked further over and over again until it was perfect. Which sounds like a lot of work and very heavy, and it absolutely was. But it's also very effective. Much like the Egyptians, the Inca had a workforce of tens of thousands of laborers, and a system that made sure they were fed so that they could keep working. And while many examples of massive stones are to be found, most of the rocks were selected to be much smaller and therefore a more manageable size, to make the process much easier. And they kept track of all of this work through this incredible writing system based on intricately woven knots called quipus, but that's a topic for another video. I realize this is kind of an underwhelming answer to how you achieve such a perfect fit, but the simplest solution is often the best one. You don't need lasers, just the right grit, a hammerstone, and a whole bunch of elbow grease. And, of course, a huge amount of manual labor. Remember, they're not ordering pre-made blocks from a factory across the world. They were making each and every block by hand and made to fit the next ones. And by using simple mechanical systems like levers, pulleys, and rollers, as well as a lot of human labor, they could manipulate the blocks as needed. As Archimedes once said, "Give me a place to stand, and with a lever I will move the whole world." We'll come back to the mechanical tricks that were used for transporting and stacking large stones in a future video, but we'll need to find a place to put our pyramid first, and more importantly, source the rock. Before you go, we want to know how long it really would take to drill through the granite, and we want a perfect core for our collection. So in a few days after this video goes out, I'm going to put the date on screen, we're going to be doing a live stream where we're going to drill holes and answer your questions. But here's the catch. Drilling is hard work, and the internet loves to watch people suffer. So, we will keep drilling for as long as people keep donating. So potentially, you could keep us drilling for hours upon hours. It's going to be a fun time, so be sure to stop by. In the meantime, if you missed it, you should absolutely watch our video on how we prepared Hennefer for her final resting place, as it is still probably the most expensive and complex video that we've done and took many, many months of work. And probably the best place to watch that video is actually over on Nebula, so you can see the bonus video that goes with it. Not only will you get to see us prepare Hennefer for her extracorporeal river cruise, but you'll learn all the spells inscribed on her sarcophagus to guide her along the way, and all the different rare and exotic ingredients that were used for the process. It's nearly 2 more hours of ancient Egyptian content from us, and because it's on Nebula, it's completely ad-free. And even this video has already been on Nebula for days because videos are always posted there first. Though that's really only scratching the surface of how cool Nebula is. If you haven't heard of it before, Nebula is the amazing creator-owned streaming platform where you can see ours and many of your favorite creators' videos. But it's not just the normal videos you see here on YouTube. Especially lately, Nebula, along with our fellow creators, have been working hard to make more prestige content that lives exclusively there. Shows like Becky Stern's Made in Shenzhen, where she takes you to the heart of the world's tech manufacturing to see how your devices and gizmos are really made. Or if you're looking for more nature and less tech, try Beyond the Backyard to see some of the world's most legendary animals in their native habitats. There's so much thoughtful, fascinating content to be found, so you'll have fun exploring once you sign up. Speaking of which, if you use my link to sign up, you get 50% off the annual plan, and it works out to about $30, which is only about $2.50 a month. So go to nebula.tv/thethoughtemporium and sign up today. Just click the link below or scan the QR code to get started, and I hope to see you over there. That's all for now, and we'll see you next time.
Ladybug! There's 2 of them!